cut to Biden was asked about the price tag. Well, we know it's zero. It doesn't cost anything. It only $5.7 trillion is actually zero. Roll that.
I know you don't want to comment on other senators' positions in the negotiations, but what do you think the size of the reconciliation package should be? What specific dollar figure?
Well, I laid out what I thought it should be. It's not going to be that. It's going to be less. I mean, look.
I'm going to lie to you. Here it comes.
The legislation, both the Build Back Better piece as well as the infrastructure piece, are things that I wrote.
You wrote it.
These didn't come from, God love him, Bernie Sanders or AOC or anybody else. I wrote them.
It's funny he picks those two.
I disagreed with Medicare for All, for example. I disagreed, but I laid out what I thought would be important. For example, I think in the Build Back Better program, it's required that we, in fact, have the best education available to us. And I'll be speaking to this in detail tomorrow. But look, here's the situation. How can we,
that's
in
one of the
competitive world,
really sounds like he wrote it.
Hold a second, Chief. Go back. Go back a little bit. Let's hear this because he wrote it. Since he wrote it, I wrote it. Not Bernie, not AOC. I wrote it. Let me give you an example here of my fine work. Let's hear this one more time.
In fact, have the best education available to us, and I'll be speaking to this in detail tomorrow. But look, here's the situation. How can we, in an ever-competitive world, increasingly competitive world, how can we not meet the educational standards of at least other countries are working toward? Nobody is reducing the number of years they want their children to go to school or people to go to school. You've heard me say it before, as my wife says. If any country out-educates us, they're going to out-compete us. Look what China's doing.
Okay.
Remember the question was, what's your price tag?
They're investing. They're also investing in things that relate to ability for people to go to work.
The question was,
and stay at work. We have several million women who can't go back to work because they don't have any way to take care of their children.
What's your price tag?
So to give a tax cut to a working mom to be able to afford daycare?
Now we were in left field. Now we're in right field.
Is that a bad idea? I think it's a darn good idea. We'll get people back to work.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things in the legislation I'm going to be talking about across the country.
Oh, can't wait.
That I think the American people overwhelmingly support.
Sure.
But the idea that somehow this is somebody else's legislation, this is what I wrote.
He said that.
Yeah, this is something that I wrote.
He wrote.
He. If that was an attempt to tell us what's in the bill, I mean, that rivals some of his best/worst moments on some of these town halls where he loses his train of thought talking about electric cars or something. And he's going off on numbers, 100 billion, trillion, zillion. I mean, what was that?
He sounds like a dog-faced pony soldier is what he sounds like.
The idea that someone else wrote. I mean,
the idea he wrote the bill.
That's as comical as the idea that it costs zero. Hey, nice new Ferrari. Yeah, it costs zero. Really? Yeah, the other guy bought it for me. Well, it still costs something to somebody. No, it's zero. It's zero. But hey, we got to raise the debt ceiling to pay for it.